Well, FPL said that it would have power back on for Miami-Dade and Broward counties by midnight tonight.
Here's a look at the latest outages. FPL reports 9,710 outages in Miami-Dade County, 1,690 in Broward County. And the numbers, those are the numbers of the people who are still in the dark. FPL initially said they would have the power restored by Sunday, but in some areas, the power company said it would need until tonight. The city of Coral Gables has been issuing citations and fines to FPL since Monday for what it calls a failure to prepare for and respond to Irma's tropical storm winds.
FPL has the duty, the right and the duty to cut back those trees. The city is not allowed to trim trees around power lines. Other cities could also be helped by this action that we're doing. We're hoping to help all of South Florida get better infrastructure for power.
Well, we definitely want to get FPL's side of this story and other issues in the wake of Hurricane Irma. And so joining us now is Maria Bertot, who is a spokeswoman for FPL. And you are either the most popular people in town or the most vilified, depending on whether or not people have power. Let's talk about this latest deadline and whether FPL is going to make it midnight tonight.
Yes, it looks good. We're on. We already have the vast majority of our customers restored. The numbers are lower than what you reported, and they're going down every hour.
What about what the city attorney in Coral Gables just said? You heard him say that FPL is not going in and is not trimming the trees. Thus, we have this massive power outage.
Well, with all due respect, the root of the problem in Coral Gables is the city. It's their mismanagement of their tree canopy program. We have been trying to work with that city for years, and in some cases, trees are planted in the wrong place underneath our lines. Or we haven't been allowed to go in and harden the system as we've done in other places. And our system is proving that these investments have worked. Where we've hardened, we've had less outages.
What about the people who have underground lines? A lot of people we've talked to say that they never even lost power, those who have the underground lines. Is that something that we should be changing across the board?
Well, any new construction in South Florida, 90% of that new construction is underground. And we underground about 40% of our main lines, which is above the national average. So yes, that helps, but it's not a silver bullet. In cases of flooding or in cases of finding a fault, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to restore power.
Marie, we know that FPL put in a bunch of upgrades. You talk about hardening the system, $3 billion worth, paid for by your customers. This wasn't even a Category 1 hurricane. What happens when we get one, or a 2 or a 3? How can you assure your customers here that you're prepared for a storm that would be even more serious than the one we've just lived through?
FPL has one of the strongest and smartest grids in the nation. And as we saw 48 hours after the storm, if you want to compare it to Wilma, we were restoring power 4 times faster a couple days after the storm. Also, our poles are a nice indication as well, where during Wilma, we lost about 12,000 poles. During this storm, we've lost about 2,000, and they haven't been due to the high winds, which were, as your station's been reporting, near 100 miles an hour. They're due to fallen trees.
Before we go, let me just ask, are there any other communities that are not cooperating? You mentioned Coral Gables, any other cities? Pinecrest, for example, who else?
We've had some issues with Pinecrest also, but I think we're at the table now where we're working something out with Pinecrest. I think they've seen the need to allow us to come in and harden the system, to strengthen our grid for our customers.
And finally, I know that customers' bait rates are slated to increase by another $811 million by the year 2019. Is there any rethinking to that number? Any chance of customers getting rebates for what everyone has just experienced?
It's really too soon to talk about costs. We are still focused on the restoration effort today. Our customers on the West Coast took the brunt of this Cat 2 storm. That's how it came in on the West Coast. So we're just focused on our customers and getting the power back on for them at this time. Any increase to any rates would go through the Public Service Commission. As you know, we're a highly regulated industry, so it would have to go through them. But it's too soon. We're really focused on our customers. Would FPL be open to rate decreases? Would you be open to bringing down rates? We have decreased our rates due to our savings in fuel. So we use natural, clean American gas. So we have actually in the last few years lowered our rates, and right now our rates are among the lowest in the nation and one of the lowest in the state.
We're going to continue following the story, that's for sure. Marie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For joining us tonight.